We have a real chance at this new world order. It is a big idea. A new world order. A world in which there is a very real prospect of a new world order. After 1989, President Bush said, and it's a phrase that I often use myself, that we needed a new world order.
There is a chance the President of the United States can use this disaster to carry out what his father, a phrase his father used, I think, only once, and hasn't been used since, and that is a new world order.
So that the problem of the Bush presidency will be the emergence of a new international order.
Let us reorder this world around us.
It's about the future of Europe and a new world order.
There's a need for a new world order.
We've got to give them a stake in creating the kind of world order that I think all of us would like to see.
India will be a central actor in the new world order.
This is the SpeakInCOAD Podcast, where you're doing episode 21. We're going to do a little bit of symbolism in wrestling. I am Code, Conspiracy of a Dead Man, sitting here next to
Theodore Dino Minte.
And we have to bring a video up to explain that a little bit more. He explained the whole Dino Mite thing to me, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. And then he showed me, I'm like, makes so much more sense. And we got Chente in the house representing.
We are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweigh the dangers which are cited to justify it. There is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. I am not asking your newspapers to support, but I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people. To the recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news, that we look for strength and assistance, confident that with your help, man will be what he was born to be, free and independent.
So the one thing that I did want to bring up, though, with
With the goat?
Yeah, the goat thing, right? So the symbolism with WWE or just sports, the sports in general, right?
Yeah.
Why, when you see a goat like this,
Yes.
you think of demonic, you think of Satan, you think of human sacrifice or animal sacrifice. You think of all that stuff. A goat, and we talked about it on the last podcast, where there was a goat. It was like a skinwalker goat walking like a human.
2 legs, yeah, that was.
And a chicken was following behind it. And you're like, and I think Swank mentioned The Witch, the movie The Witch,
Okay.
which has like a goat head, like a goat or whatever looking like that, right? So here's my thinking, okay? And this isn't, I mean, I guess because we're talking about occult symbolism and stuff, I mean, you got to tie religion into it somehow.
Yes.
Right? So what do they call Jesus?
He is the Lamb of God.
The Lamb of God, right? Also, there was a band that called themselves the Lamb of God, but they were more Satanist type. I think so. I'm not 100% sure about that. But they definitely weren't like a Christian rock band. You know, so you have this guy here wearing a goat symbol.
Yes.
Right? You have Aleister Crowley that created a book with a goat's head. You have Jesus, who technically is the greatest of all time.
I like how you do that.
But they call people the goat, which is satanic symbolism for animal sacrifice. They wouldn't sacrifice a lamb unless it was for God. So what they do is they reverse it. They have to corrupt everything that God has created and reverse it. So instead of sacrificing a lamb to God in the blood of the lamb and all that type of good symbolism for religion, they sacrifice a goat, which is like an evil version of the lamb. Not that an actual goat's evil or anything like that, but just the idea of it and the symbolism behind it. This is what they sacrifice for Satan and the devil.
Okay.
Right? So then you have the goat, right? And which they call John Cena. Now, if you look up now, like I said, Jesus would be considered the Lamb of God. The goat is symbolism for animal sacrifice to the devil and the dark arts, right? So what they do is they change goat, make it into an acronym, say that's the greatest of all time. Guess who has a brand new shirt in WWE? I've been wanting to do this episode for a while now, just to give you a heads up.
Okay.
Who has a brand new shirt in WWE that calls himself the greatest?
Dominic Mysterio. Oh.
Greatest. I didn't know Roman had that shirt.
Roman Reigns has this shirt now. Because recently, and I swear it's just recently, that they've been calling John Cena the greatest of all time.
Yes.
Just recently, they just started calling him the greatest of all time. I've never heard that, but I've also haven't been in wrestling that deep until more recently.
No, since he's come back these last couple weeks.
They introduce him every time as the greatest of all time.
Yes.
He comes out as the greatest. Roman Reigns comes out with the greatest, but he has a goat on his, and he has his symbol created in the face of a goat. Now, here's where it's a stretch, right? Okay. So you have the greatest of all time. They call him the greatest of all time as he's come back. He's the greatest currently that wants to take over. What's John Cena's initials?
Jesus Christ. Okay, I see what you did there.
Yeah, but they're creative. They do stuff like that where it's like you're not going to really pay attention to it. You're not really going to understand it unless you're really looking. And I wasn't even looking until I saw I noticed. I was watching on SmackDown and I was like, wait, why do they keep saying the greatest of all time? And then he comes out and he gets beat by Solo. He gets beat by Roman. He gets beat by all these people and he keeps getting beat.
Yeah.
They keep calling him the greatest of all time, but he's losing every single time. He hasn't won in like the last 4 years.
No, singles match like in the last 3 or 4 years, yeah.
Yes.
Tag team matches, he wins plenty. But
and Jesus Christ has never lost. Right? I mean, I sorry to pull it in that direction and stuff, but I just thought it was kind of cool. I was just like, wow, this is nuts how they're showing all this
one
stuff.
way to look at it.
Yeah. So there's
I
that
would have
one.
never thought of that. Plus that shirt, I didn't know Roman had a new shirt, and I didn't know they designed it way because that does look like a ghost head and everything.
Yeah. So and then I just wanted to pull up some other ones and stuff too. I'll show you guys some other symbolism in WWE.
I didn't know he had fangs when he was doing that.
Yeah. Let me see. I'm gonna try to pull this one up instead. So when you would go ahead and buy the WWE network,
yes,
it would spin around, and it was $9.99, and they would spin it around and just show you for a split second 666. And I get it. It's a little bit of a stretch, but I try. And then so then there was this one, right? And then you had the NWO and all these different guys having all the different types. Yes. And then you have some of these different what are they called? The pay-per-views.
Yes.
The pay-per-views were called specific things. This one was called World War III.
Yeah.
60 men, 3 rings, 3 giants, 1 battle royal. It's crazy.
Yes.
I
miss that.
Then you have this one that WCW did.
Sold Out.
It's called Sold Out, like selling your soul. And it's also promoted by the NWO, which means New World Order. If you don't know what that is, go watch some podcasts before you check this one out, because we haven't even touched base on not your WCW's NWO right here. Know what I'm saying? I might have some videos. I'll try to pull some up. And then they also had this one. It was New Blood Rising. I mean, Our Time Is Now. It's just some very strange stuff, right? The NWO, they always had some symbolism, hand gestures. They would always do like he would always go like this, right? Yeah. Like that's the click or whatever. But it's really the devil horns. There's like, it's like a gang sign doing something, and you're like, oh, you shouldn't do that. It's like, well, it's pretty much the same thing, even though it isn't.
But the NWO was a gang. They were like,
they were a gang.
They were literally beating people up with pipes and jumping them in the back.
But their gang symbols are this.
Because it was just too sweet.
Oh boy. I feel like Kermit the Frog just sipping on my tea. And then you just got these guys here, NWO. They were just throwing up different signs and stuff. You got Lex Luger.
Hogan, Scott
yeah,
Steiner.
But nobody else. I don't think anybody else was really throwing it up except for Lex Luger. That's the only reason why I think I threw him up there. And then you got the Clique. Well, NWO, Wolfpack or whatever. Some of these guys throwing it all up. You got Scott Hall being a poser. He don't know what he's doing. He's doing the wrong sock puppet or shadow puppet. And then you got X-Pac down there. And like I said, I think a lot of it is there's people behind this stuff. I'm not saying that these people, I'm not saying that the wrestlers themselves, like same thing with like a photographer. Hey, when you film, like the it thing right now is having somebody cover their eye or put this ooze down their one eye or have them make a pyramid sign or stick out their tongue or do all these random things. I feel like they're being told to do this on behalf of a bigger picture.
Gotcha.
I don't
people
think
behind the scenes are promoting it,
yes.
And they're using people without knowledge of what they're promoting to get their message across.
Yeah, exactly. Like same thing with all this stuff. You know, like Roman Reigns, I don't think he sold his soul to wear a goat on his shirt.
Yeah.
You know, and then they push it as being such a new thing. Like the goats, like I've heard greatest of all time. I've heard Jordan be called the greatest of all time. I've heard of all these different athletes from when I was a kid be called the greatest of all time. Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
You know, it never really was like baseball was the greatest of all time or football was the greatest of all time until more recently.
Yes.
Like Tom Brady being the greatest of all time. I never heard of another football player be called the greatest of all time until Tom Brady.
Brett Favre.
Nah, I don't know.
He was
maybe the greatest quarterback, but they never said he was the greatest of all time.
I don't know. I feel you guys just hate.
And like, I am hating. So he's the goat. Gretzky.
Husky-wise, people would say Gretzky was great.
I love Husky.
I
love Husky. So, and then here's some other ones I just wanted to show you guys too. You got him throwing up the 666. Why that was his symbol, I don't know. I mean, it's not like he's saying like, "Hey, okay, everything's gonna be okay." He's constantly throwing this up all the time. He comes out to the ring and he does it.
Yeah, I never understood what it was for either.
You know,
once he started doing like I want to say the rap thing, but it was like a little past that when he started being like
he started being the PG era.
Yeah,
when you got all these kids wanting to be like him doing it too.
Yeah,
you know, so it's like, and then you have now. I'm not saying that this is a bad thing. I'm just saying it's a thing that possibly happens. You grew up as a kid. You love John Cena. You dress up like him. He's doing all these hand gestures, and then you have pictures of yourself as a little kid doing these exact hand gestures. And then when you grow up, they show you and they go, you were into Satan. And you're like, no, I wasn't. Like, he was a part of the occult. It's like, he was 6. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's just doing what he's told. Like,
Exactly.
or he's just doing what he thinks is cool.
I can say for myself, like, I don't know how many like rappers and actors I've seen in pictures with their middle finger up, and then I got pictures posing with friends, middle finger just out there for no reason.
You turd. And then John Cena, he's showing how old he is. He's 6.
66.
He's 6 years old. There's more symbolism here. So like you could see when he comes out to his show or whatever. More. And then I thought this was kind of cool. Somebody had this as a design as their thumbnail for, excuse me. Somebody had this as a design for their thumbnail for one of their videos.
Yeah.
And it was like Shawn Michaels, Macho Man,
and Jeff Hardy.
And then he had the all-seeing eye on the forehead because it was a conspiracy episode.
I wonder like how much occult stuff we can attribute to him, because like he does all his own face paint. He's one of the few.
Well, this face paint thing, he didn't do that. Somebody edited that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He did.
Well, because he does stuff like put butterflies on his face or put eyelids on his own eyelids.
Oh, yeah.
With his face paint. So I'm wondering like how much has he had in his actual face paints that we haven't noticed?
Maybe. Yeah, and we haven't always watched them. Yeah. But somebody has this like blown up as a picture behind them for their podcast. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Okay.
And they do like a wrestling podcast, and I don't remember their names. They're from like Britain, I think, or the UK somewhere.
Okay.
But it was interesting. I was trying to watch their videos to learn more conspiracies, but didn't have it.
Yeah.
And then of course the people talking, and just doing hand gestures. I get that he's possibly doing this by accident.
Yeah, he's just
I totally get that.
While...
But they're trying to link this with 666, and because it was WrestleMania 30, the XXX, right? Isn't that a 10?
Yes.
Okay. Chente, feel free to like cut me off and cough.
No, you good.
Hulk Hogan, I don't know why they did this, but it was a birthday celebration for him, and they made him 990 years old.
Because that name is like ancient.
But they could have did like 1,000. Why 999? Where it's upside down, it's 666.
Too many kids.
And then these guys were called the Ascension, right?
Yes.
So there was videos of them with tons of occult symbolism. They got the pyramid with the all-seeing eye, with also the it's not just the all-seeing eye. Is that the Eye of Horus?
Raw.
I
want to say it's the Eye of Horus.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the Eye of Horus. Okay.
Yeah. So they had a bunch of symbolism with their whole thing, and then they also had, and I think I was watching a video. I'll try to play it later. I'll put us talking behind that for this video or for this, because I have a video. I just don't want to put any of their music playing in the background.
Gotcha.
Or like WWE like visuals, like video and stuff like that too. I don't want to like, I don't know, get banned. But do you remember what their final move was?
I think it was like a leg sweep clothesline thing, but I cannot remember the name of it.
It was called the End of Man.
Okay.
So there was like symbolism with that too, like biblical, like the Revelations, I think.
Okay.
And then you also have like DX and Shawn Michaels. They're not even doing the click thing. They're doing the like, they're not doing the fingers out like that, like Scott Hall would do.
Yeah.
And like Kevin Nash, they're doing the actual like devil horns, so I just thought that was very strange that they did that. And then like I also mentioned with not Dave Grohl, what's the guy's name? Dave Navarro, and Isaac Weishaupt also mentioned with the Leviathan cross on Aleister Black's jacket. The Leviathan was the original name for Batista as the demon Leviathan when he wrestled at OVW. So he was like a really crazy looking dude.
Chains around his neck.
Yeah. So it was just interesting. I thought those were kind of cool. Just like ideas and stuff like that too. I don't know if I made any videos or if I copied any videos. So I don't know. Should I play this at all?
If you want to.
Like, it's more of a slideshow than anything.
Gotcha. You know what's funny? Like all these clips and pictures you've been showing, they've been showing like people with occult symbols and doing stuff. And yet the two biggest people who you would think they would talk about because their characters were like demonic, Kane and Undertaker, have not been referenced at all.
Very true.
Because like Kane literally at one point went by the devil's favorite demon. The Undertaker was, you know, like a mortician who somehow channeled demonic forces of darkness to continue to rise to defeat his opponents.
Jeez.
And all these other wrestlers are talked about, but the two who like characters are literally based off of that, not been mentioned, not been shown. And like so many of these like clips and pictures that are popping up. I say that, and then there's like one with the Undertaker right there.
Yeah, I know. There was something I was going to show. I just forgot what it was.
Something you were saying earlier about how like sorry, I didn't mean to
get thrown off screen.
Jesus.
About like people behind the scenes to help them come up with
like,
concepts. How many of the wrestlers are wearing like symbols and messaging and have no clue about it.
Yeah.
Somebody came up with like, hey, look at this design. It was like, oh, that's cool. It was like, okay, this will be your new shirt.
Yeah.
And then they were like promoting it, not knowing that, you know, they're being used to corrupt.
Yeah.
And then how many, on the other hand, are like they're the ones themselves came up with the design, or they knew what the design that was shown to them was for and are willingly corrupting.
Yep. No, that makes sense.
Yep.
You don't see any watch later. This is what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Oh. I don't have them on there. Maybe it's history. These are just okay. So oh my gosh. I gotta give you some context, okay? I gotta remember where the video is.
Well, while you're doing that, speaking of the guy you were just showing, Kevin, so he literally has a whole group called the Dungeon of Doom, where he was like the devil in the group.
Oh yeah.
Like, and in ECW, there was a guy named James Mitchell who wore red suits and was the devil and was tricking people into being in this group and signing contracts.
Okay, so I love how we're all big into conspiracies and we enjoy our time looking this stuff up.
Okay.
There is a guy.
That's creative wording.
Yeah. Here it is. Okay, so I'm gonna play a video real fast. And like I said, I'm not gonna I didn't say anything. This is his channel, spira-series, and he only has like 7 or 8. He only has 8 videos, okay? But he does them all about just Chris Benoit, and he thinks that it's a cover-up. Okay. So this is the only thing that I wanted to pull up for you guys, video wise. I'm going to mute it because I'm going to try to find it real fast.
Okay.
I'm going to try to find this screen real quick. Okay. So just to give you some context, they talk about Eddie Guerrero, and he talks about how there is 2 different sides of what Chavo Guerrero mentions.
Okay.
Chavo Guerrero talks about the night before Eddie's death, and then he talks about the morning of Eddie's death. And it really threw me off, and I was like super shocked by it.
Okay.
But I'm going to play this for you guys. Okay. So I'm going to play 2 videos for you guys, and then I think we can close out and be done if you're cool with that. But these are just so crazy to me because these were 2. Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit were probably 2 wrestlers that at the beginning of when I got into wrestling when I was like 13 years old, I didn't know much about them because I didn't watch WCW. But I finally followed along with them in WWE.
Yeah.
So like they were part of the Radicals. It was Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, Perry Saturn, and that's it, right? and Chris Benoit. So later on, I became a big fan of Chris Benoit and Eddie because they kind of split off and did their own things. But they stayed really good friends, and you got to see that in the shows, right?
Yeah.
So Chris Benoit was like the tactical guy or technical guy. He had amazing matches with Kurt Angle. He had amazing matches with Triple H. I mean, he was the technician. But I mean, yeah, the list goes on and on. Like, he was based only on wrestling. He seemed as if he was like one of the best wrestlers that you would ever be able to compare.
One of the greatest of all time.
Yes. You said it, not me.
Or the GOAT.
Or the GOAT. Oh boy. And same with Eddie. I mean, Eddie came from like harsh life situations. Like, he was into drugs and alcohol really bad. Yes. He almost lost his whole family. I think he had an affair with somebody while he was married and had another kid with somebody else, but ended up taking the kid on, and his wife took the kid on as his own. And it's weird. It's hard to explain.
Okay.
Anytime I watch a video about Chris Benoit, people always talk about how he killed his family and how he was a horrible, horrible person. And I always feel like you could always talk about him being an amazing wrestler and leave that part out.
Yeah.
I personally think that you could leave that part out. I understand what happened was horrible. I'm not making any excuses. Same with Eddie. I mean, Eddie had a horrible life at certain times of his life, but he turned it around and passed away kind of on top.
Yeah.
Which was insane because he was only 38 years old when he died.
But the difference is with Eddie, the horrible things he done were like
in the middle.
Personal. Like, being on drugs. Personal. Well, but being on drugs and cheating on your wife, those are things you can be forgiven for. But Chris Benoit took a life. So that puts it in a different limelight that makes it harder for people to separate the person from the act.
Allegedly.
So
here's what I'll show you guys. Okay. And like I said, I'll cut all this stuff out, and I'll put the video with the audio and break it down. But if you do want to talk or something, just I don't know, just start talking. I'll pause the video and then we'll go into it, and then that way I can cut it and stuff after.
But I want to get to another interesting point in SmackDown versus Raw 2006. Well, you'll see.
Talk about bad timing. Back in the glory days of wrestling game story modes, the scripts were often completely original in comparison to what was being shown on actual television. This is part of the reason that fans fell in love with them so much, as it didn't feel like a rehash of watching Raw or SmackDown. Instead, you could get your own news stories to play out. Well, unfortunately, this had ended up backfiring on the developers on a couple of occasions, and both of them have involved The Undertaker, strangely enough.
Gotcha.
The first example comes from SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, where as gamers were playing through the season mode, they would come across a story where the dead man was feuding with Latino Heat Eddie Guerrero. In-game, the feud culminated with Taker choke-slamming Latino Heat into a casket, which is pretty standard for a WWE storyline, right? Well, unfortunately, that year's SmackDown vs. Raw's release came just a few months after the untimely death of Eddie Guerrero, so playing through it looked tasteless to say the least.
You got to admit, that's pretty creepy. I mean, that's pretty crazy that the video game, and they didn't really tell you the day the video game was released. WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 is a professional wrestling video game released on the PlayStation 2 console and the PlayStation Portable Handheld console by THQ and developed by Ukes. Now, the initial release date, as you should see right here, is November 11th, 2005. What do you know? November 13th, 2005. 2 days after this game was released, Eddie Guerrero is dead. 2 days. What I do think is a little odd about all this is the two things I've mentioned here with the storyline and then the video game. Then I think...
All right, let's see. All right. You hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, so I'm not trying to blame anybody.
What you saying is Chavo did that shit.
I would never say that. But let's just say one thing. If someone was sacrificed and someone actually had a better life because of it, I'm not saying anything.
His career didn't go anywhere. So
what do you
Chavo's career plummeted.
No. He lives in LA. He works in Hollywood. He's the wrestling consultant of every single movie and TV show in Hollywood today.
But that's after the fact of wrestling.
Oh,
He continued
so
wrestling.
So what you're saying is
he's
paid,
huh? Career.
Yeah.
So
but his life is better.
Coming years later.
Would you say? Wait. What'd you say?
You're saying his life is better.
His life is way better than when it was in wrestling.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. Like
most after, no.
Yeah, most celebrities when they do the sacrifice, their career at that moment gets better. Sometimes. His career went on a decline, and it wasn't until he stopped wrestling that it improved.
Yeah, and like I said, like this isn't me saying that Chavo had anything to do with this at all. Either one, him or Eddie or Benoit. Like I'm a fan of Chavo. I'm a fan of wrestling. I'm like, but here's also the other thing. If somebody let's just say in politics, if you are a fan of somebody in politics, you're a fan.
Yeah.
You don't know that person. You like to think of them being like you and having your best interest for you to vote for that person.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Hollywood, same thing with movies, same thing with TV shows, same thing with people you look up to that are in those realms. They are not us. They are not like us. There's a lot of things that they do that they make us want to feel like there is a connection, that they are like just like us. Like, oh man, he had a rough life. He, whatever the case, or she or whoever. And you try to categorize them as being like them. And them not being like them, but them being like you.
Yeah.
And gone through the same things. Now, I am not trying to change anybody's mind. I'm just giving a perspective. I'm not even giving my perspective. Okay. I'm just giving a perspective of this.
Okay.
I'm not trying to with all of this stuff that we showed and we went through and talked about, like John Cena being the GOAT and the greatest of all time, having the initials JC. I'm not saying that he's satanic. I'm not saying anybody in WWE or wrestling or anything like this are.
Excuse me.
I'm not saying any of those people are evil by any means. Like, I'm a fan. I like the stuff. I like watching the stuff. Like, I grew up in it. Like, I feel like I've had dreams of, like, still to this day of, like, being a part of that type of life, and not even lifestyle, but just being a part of behind the scenes or whatever the case. I always think that would be like a really fun thing to do, and it would be a goal that if it hit one day, that would be like, that was like my all-time goal as a kid. We always wanted to be tag team champs. That's why we had our wrestling match.
The Dudleys.
Yeah, that's why I'm not wearing a mask right now, and he can take it off whenever he wants and put it on, and he has the title. So like, this stuff was a huge part of my life as a fan, as a kid growing up. I mean, even to this day, like watching the athleticism, and these people are athletes, these people are actors, like they do good stuff and they help out. But then there's other people that do bad stuff. There's always going to be good people that do evil things and evil people that do good things.
Yes.
And to put everybody in a category of good and evil, there's gray,
It's funny you say that, because Malachi Black, whichever you call him, his song that he uses, I can't remember if it was WWE or the one he currently uses in AEW. He literally at the beginning words go, "No one is ever truly good. No one is ever truly evil." And then you go, good people do bad things and bad people do good things. It just kind of like, and
that's what I'm trying to say too, with all of the podcast episodes we've ever done or will do or whatever the case. You know, it's like I feel like I'm just BSing and having fun. You know, like I'm having a good time with my best friends, like that I could ask for. You know, it's like it's a way that I get to hang out with my friends, get to reach out to people that want to listen or just want to even be our friends one day. You know, it's like, I don't know, but like I'm giving my own thoughts and ideas on stuff. These aren't all like, I don't believe in everything that is happening or every conspiracy. I don't mind talking about every conspiracy. I don't mind having an idea or having my own thoughts or opinions on all this stuff, but I'm definitely not like on board with every single conspiracy out there.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, there's some that I'm like, kind of makes sense. I get that. I understand that. And it's like, there's people out there that are in control of stuff that do evil things. And, you know, it's like, of course you might think that those people might be good if you're a fan of theirs one day, you know, like, oh, well, they don't drink baby blood. It's like, well, maybe they do. I don't know. And if they do, I don't want to be on their side either.
When you think about serial killers, the same thing is said about them. Like, until they snapped, you know, it's just like, oh, he was a good guy.
Yep.
He helped me do yard work. He helped the lady across the street. But then one day, all of a sudden, he's walked into a mall and shot people up.
Yeah.
So I can see what you're saying right there. You never know.
Yeah, exactly.
But to that video, I got pushback against the guy because, like, as a person that's been there when someone has died, for like the part where they said, like, Chavo said he didn't know who to call.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, like, when you're in the moment, hundreds of people go through your head, but it's like, do I want to wake him up with this information?
Yes.
Should I wait till later? Who's the most important that I contact and let know about this?
Yeah. No, 100%. And like, I totally get that idea and that perspective 100%. Like, I'm not saying like that's what happened. I would never want to root for somebody that would kill somebody, but I also wouldn't want to put that on anybody if that's not true either. You know, like I'm not trying to make any things like that. And then Chente, you got anything to say about that video?
No, that was an interesting video.
Yeah. And then I have one more for you guys if you're cool with it.
Yeah. I will say before you hit play, the other thing too is how this, like, they said it's suspicious that he's at both their death. Well, one is his uncle who he travels with, and the other is a wrestler who's been close with his family since he was a kid that he also travels with. Like, how can it be suspicious that he was one of the last people that either one of them talked to? When that's like me being around you and people's like, oh, it's kind of suspicious that it was the last person to go talk to.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we've known each other since we were 9.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't that be one of the last people?
And there's like a weird glitch. Like every time we say Ted, the T is silent and we say Ed. And we're like, why does that keep happening? I don't know what's going on.
Microphone.
Yeah.
Those darn microphones.
Yeah. We got to change the one that's on his neck. It's hanging under his beard. It keeps tying off on the T silent.
I've been thinking about getting Christmas ornaments for my beard.
Oh, there you go. He goes, I'm not thick, I'm thick. No. Husky silent.
But yeah, like, so that'd be like, again, saying like one of us being the last person to talk to each other.
Yeah.
Like, if you knew how often we talk to each other and how long we known each other, it's like, it's
makes sense.
Not that implausible.
Yeah. So I just got this video to show you guys, and then we'll figure something out. Are you cool with that, Chente?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk because I don't want to trip over anything. All right.
Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the mystery of the Wikipedia edits. Was there any pressure on Stanford police to quickly write off the Wikipedia edits? Was it a shoddy investigation, or was it as thorough as one could expect? Whether Matthew Greenberg made a Wikipedia edit about the Benoit case without any knowledge of the case is certainly possible. However, there is the possibility that Greenberg knew someone in the WWE and was tipped off that something was amiss, but we may never know as the Stanford police quickly dismissed it as a coincidence. Where this is questionable are the errors found in the investigation by reporter Irv Muchnick.
Wow.
Have you ever heard that before?
No, I haven't.
All right. Chente, do you have any ideas, or is there anything that you want me to pull up?
No, I can't think of anything. Those videos are good though, bro.
Yeah, interesting, right? And it gives you a different perspective of it.
Yeah, that second one definitely gave me a different perspective because like that came out hours before, and then they did it twice, and then one was here in the States and the other was in Australia
after they already found the IP address in Stamford, Connecticut. Yeah. So
like, I mean, not saying somebody on this side couldn't have used one of those things that like
an IP address,
use your
VPN.
VPN.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it made it look like it was in Australia.
Yes.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah. So someone could have done that to throw them off the trail. But yeah, hours in advance. And like, oh yeah, I was just posting that to be funny. Like, what's so funny about somebody's wife dying?
Yeah. I don't know. It was freaking crazy.
Yeah. That one is that second one. Yeah, that had me on the ropes. That is very suspicious.
Yeah. And trying to think of what else. Yeah. Haven't done that all day. There's another thing I was gonna ask too. And like I said, I'm not saying that he did or didn't kill his family and all that stuff. Like, I would like to hope that he didn't, but that's him. That's me trying to be a fan and hope for the best.
Yes.
You know, it's like, so if he actually did, like, conspiratorial, if he did in real life, whatever, kill his family, it's like, oh, that sucks. Like, sucks. It's like the kid that's still alive, like the son and daughter that are still alive and stuff. Like, I watched the son and stuff on like Vice.
And he looks just like him.
Yeah.
Like 100% like
and he talked about, I think his name's David Benoit.
Yeah.
He talked about actually wrestling under Chris Benoit because his middle name is Chris. He's like, I could come back in as Chris Benoit. I was like, oh my gosh. And if he was like at that good and that technical and stuff too, that could be sick. Like if he was like Hook.
Oh yeah.
Like even if he's smaller, if he like trained like Hook and stuff, like Taz's son, that would be dope.
Yeah.
Do you have any thing to say on that stuff? Or any conspiracy wise, WWE wrestling, AEW, all that stuff? Like, do you guys have anything to say on
one
this?
thing when it comes to a cult? It's like hard to separate because I've watched wrestling for so long and behind the scene interviews.
Yeah.
It's so hard to separate like what is a cult and what is them using outside sources of what they know will get people talking and popular. To make their characters, because like we were saying with Alistair, like he drew some from like his dad's experiences and his experiences as a child to make his character.
Yes.
So how much of that's him being really into the occult and using it as a character, and how much of it is him being a part of the cult and trying to influence people with the tattoos and his character?
Well, so there's two different things. There's a cult, CULT, and the occult.
Yeah. No, I meant to say occult.
Oh, okay.
Because I was saying like he used his dad's experiences and knowledge of the occult.
Yes.
To influence his character.
So his real character or his real life self, his real life father really was a part of the occult.
I want to say yes. I want to say in that
or
interview.
That wasn't his made up dad story about his specific character.
I think it's a little of both.
Okay.
I think he used bits of his life and, you know, made him more flamboyant, made him more outrageous to make his character.
Okay.
Because some have quite done, like, because we talked about Eddie Guerrero, they used Ray's son and Eddie and did the whole, oh, well, I'm really his dad thing.
Yes.
So, like, he used bits of real life to make his character, but that's not saying because he got so obsessed with it, he could have become a part of the occult. Well,
and that's why Dominic has the mullet now.
Yeah, because a lot of his stuff does plays on Ray.
Yeah,
and like him and Eddie, and like him denouncing Ray as his father, and using a bunch of Eddie's moves and mannerisms.
Yes,
but like with Aleister Black, like if his dad wasn't a cult, in a cult. And it made him obsessed with the occult.
I see.
He used that as a character, but his obsession, maybe instead of just having the symbols on him because he's so obsessed with it, he could also be using those to influence people because that's his lifestyle now.
Yes. Kind of like his clothing line.
Yes. So it's hard to tell like how much of it is just an influence because he likes it, and because some stuff that other people, that like people like us would think are demonic and out there and too far out there, other people think, oh, that's just cool.
Yes.
And so how much of it is him thinking this is cool, this is what I want to base my character off of, this is what I want like my clothing line to be, and just putting it out there because he knows people will gravitate toward to make money. But on the underside, could he know well, of course he would know exactly what it means.
Kind of like predictive programming.
Yes. Because like he at a young age,
he's recruiting in a way.
Yes. So how much of it is him just be like, I like this and this is what I want people to see me as, and how much of it is him recruiting? And with other wrestlers, like how Baron Corbin had the goat thing, and then like we said, Roman's new shirt, like how much of it again is
it's all design. It's all by the designers and stuff that do like, that.
How many wrestlers just go with the ideas that are given to them and making the best out of it, not realizing what they are doing.
Yep.
How many of them are with I like that. I don't know why I see you like doing your hand.
You're racist. No, if I did that, no, I'm joking.
Like, and here's the thing. So let's say the people behind the scenes are giving them these designs and characters and making them push it.
Yes.
And then they realize what the people are doing. How many of them are so entwined with the money and the fame that they go, okay, I know this is horrible, but look where my life is.
Yeah.
And I'll just keep pushing it. Because like, I'll use an example. When WWE started to go over into Saudi Arabia, there were several wrestlers, but because of that reporter that got killed, refused to go.
Okay.
There are wrestlers who went, got that huge payday, but there are wrestlers who completely refused and to this day have never went over there.
And they still do offer a huge payday for Saudi.
Yes. Part of that is like because they're making so much money. And then I think they got to sign those contracts of going over there if they're kidnapped or whatever. They went over there of their own free will and we're not going to get them or whatnot.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah. But like it does make you think like how many are in there unwise to what's going on and how many are in there purposely influencing and how many just got caught up in a lifestyle and they go, do I really want to give up this lifestyle and continue to bring people, or the money's just too good as long as I know I'm not them the evil, I'll just keep living this fabulous lifestyle, even if I'm corrupted.
No, it makes sense. What do you think, Chente?
No, I like it. Yeah, man. All the kids like it, and the kids wear it and want to buy it. So,
I
bring the energy.
Podcast. All the kids like it.
But that's true. One of the big marketing is towards kids.
Yes.
That's why they're the bright, flashy colors, the easy to remember slogans, the like the toys and the likenesses with all the accessories that go with them, because kids making money. Like, I mean, you could go in the store at any time and you see the way they set it up is like, oh yeah, let's put the candy right next to this, and then Dad, can I get those Skittles? Like, why are the Skittles next to the hammers? Because we know Dad needs a hammer, but Dad will have the kids with him, and the kids will want Skittles. 2 birds, 1 stone. So with
2 bears, 1 cave.
Oh,
what'd you think?
2 girls, 1 cup.
2 birds, 1
I thought you said 2 bears, 1 stone. I was like, 2 bears, 1 stone. I'm like,
no,
2 girls, 1 cup.
Let's David and go. I don't know.
Oh, I saw a video of what it would be like to use a slingshot. How David would take out Goliath. And
wow.
I saw a video.
It was still. Yeah. Did I send that to you?
Maybe.
Okay. Yeah. I'm like, okay, now I can understand how.
Like, right in the forehead, right in the third eye.
Because in my mind, I'm thinking of little Dennis the Menace.
Yeah.
But when you use the one you whip around, I'm like, oh yeah, he could destroy it.
Yeah. Why haven't we learned how to do this? I'm kidding.
We have these things
take too long to reload.
Exactly. We've come a long way.
Yes.
We use things that automatically reload.
It did come a long way. I'm kidding. Chente, you got any final thoughts or anything?
Don't do dope.
Don't do dope.
100%.
And then TBD, can you bless us with the thought for the day?
Oh, I can. I think this one is very fitting for especially the last part of the conversation we had.
Ooh. Well, let's get this going so we can get some B-dubs.
Okay.
I'm hungry.
Thought for the day. I know life has been tough lately, but you're doing so well. Stay brave. Keep moving forwards. I added that.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
Why not?
And you wanna send us off?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for our lovely show.
You're doing the hand. Oh my gosh!
Well, this is complete. This is the people with the deep thought.
Oh, okay.
But this is Theodore Dino Minte telling you to have a good day.
You didn't play the video.
Oh, yeah. Hold on, I got it. real quick. Sorry.
Oh, that was awesome. Like you didn't play the video.
So this is where he gets the Dino Mite. All right.
Candles, light them up. Wow, that's nice and bright. What kind of candles are those?
Dinamite. Oh, must be Italian.
There's the candle.
Dino Minte. But you Dino Minte.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah, I like it.
All right. You did your sign out?
Yeah.
Chente, it's your turn.
That's how we get to the video.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
All right, man. Love, peace, and taco grease. Deuce, y'all.
Nice. Deuce, bro. It was nice hanging out with you. It's been too long. I feel like I barely see you anymore. This is Code Conspiracy of a Dead Man. Stay safe, stay blessed, and keep on questioning.
Ooh.
Like Scott Hall.
Yes.
Wasn't it the bad guy?
Yeah.
How's it go?
I'll say hello to the bad guy. Because he did it like Tony Montana.
Yeah. All right, Chente. See you later, man.
Later, guys.
Later, catered.
Deuce.